Eternal, loving, and magnificent God, with the commencement of a new school year comes infinite possibilities for our district to soar to new heights never before imagined. As we seek to harness the tremendous potential of our parish and build upon the progress already made, never let us forget to see the promise of each child entrusted to us. Fill our students with love and blessings while opening their minds to learning, discovery, and insight. For our employees, may this school year be a time of grace and professional growth as they teach, lead, and challenge others to grow in faith, knowledge, and wisdom. Be with each of us as we embark on this new school year and remind us to always put you at the center of every decision we make. Further, may we always have the courage and faith to follow your Son, Jesus Christ, wherever he may lead us in this life. We ask all of this in your perfect and holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Babbitt?
Here.
Ms. Bell?
Here.
Ms. Thomas?
Here.
Ms. Fertitta?
Here.
Mr. Bootery? Here. Dr. Guillot? Here. Ms. Bourgeois?
Here.
Mr. Dufresne?
Here.
Mr. Chouest?
Here.
Mr. Blazons?
Here.
Mr. Duplantis?
Here.
Mr. Lafont?
Here.
Mr. Archer? Mr. Bernard?
Here.
Mr. Adams?
Here.
Quorum?
Thank you, sir. And the number 2 recognition in this first letter A, is to recognize Mr. Tyler Dufresne, School Board Member, District 8, for his service to the Lafourche Parish School Board. I'd like to read a statement before we get Tyler up there. Recently, Mr. Tyler Dufresne was awarded a very prestigious teaching fellowship. Mr. Dufresne was named an Albert Einstein Distinguished Educator Fellow. Out of thousands of applications, Mr. Dufresne was one of only 15 teachers to be chosen across the country. Further, Mr. Dufresne is the only one to represent Louisiana. With this fellowship, Mr. Dufresne is required to move to Washington, D.C. for 1 year. He will be working in the United States House of Representatives with the Committee on Education and Labor. Mr. Dufresne will be assisting with drafting legislation, hosting meetings, researching, negotiating with congressmen and women. And on a personal note, he is going to be sorely missed by this board. He has always been proactive, a strong proponent of the employees of this school system, and in addition, a true advocate for the constituents he represents. We're going to miss you, Todd. Come to the front, we have a I'd like to read this. Resolution appreciation for dedicated service to the Lafourche Parish school system. Whereas Mr. Tyler Dufresne is vacating the seat on the Lafourche Parish School Board after a tenure of 3.75 years of service to the school system and to the citizenry of the parish. Whereas he, as a board member, has worked diligently and cooperatively and has contributed much to the progress made by the school system during his tenure. Therefore, be resolved that the members of the Lafourche Parish School Board hereby express gratitude and appreciation to Mr. Tyler Dufresne, Lafourche Parish School Board Member, District 8, January 1st, 2019 to August 4th, 2022, for the efficient and dedicated service to the parish school system, and wish him well in the future. Mr. Wisdom?
So I just got back from California last night. I was attending an educators conference there, and on the plane ride home, I was putting together a few words that came to mind after much prayer and reflection. I'm sorry, I have my back to you. But first and foremost, I want to say, let all the glory and honor go to God above. He is the reason why we are all here today, and I can't thank him enough for all the blessings he has bestowed upon me. These past 4 years have been an adventure, to say the least, between COVID, Hurricane Ida, and numerous changes to the members of this board. And unfortunately, I'm throwing another kink into it and having you elect another school board member, but for good reason. For those of you watching, I am going to Washington, D.C. to serve on Capitol Hill as an Albert Einstein Distinguished Educator Fellow, and I will do my absolute best to represent Lafourche Parish, all educators in Louisiana, and the values that we hold dear. We know that there are many challenges that we face inside and outside the classroom each day, and I'm going to do my best to advocate for us and to see about getting some solutions headed our way. It has been the honor of my life to serve on the school board and to serve alongside each and every one of you, as well as to serve our employees and students of this district and my wonderful constituents of District 8. Together, we accomplished what many said was impossible. Just a few include unfreezing salaries for our employees, electing a new superintendent, purchasing half of a new bus fleet, things that needed to be done desperately. I've also worked hand in hand with Mr. Martin and Mr. Guidry to create a recognition program each month for our employees and students, drafted a MOU or Memorandum of Understanding with Nichols for instant admission for our graduates, and offered scholarships for graduates of Central Lafourche High School. I did all of these things not for myself, but because I love this parish dearly, not only as a board member, but as a product of Lafourche Parish Public Schools. I am so proud of what this district has done and what it is doing and where it will go. And I'm just blessed to be a part of this and to give back to a community that has given me so much. I value our friendship and our time on this board, and I'm a stronger leader because of each and every one of you. I'm also grateful to my family and my friends for their unwavering support throughout all of this. As my campaign manager in 2018 for school board, Cade Mattia, could tell you, we fought hard to get here. It wasn't an easy road, but I thank God each and every day that we were able to win and to serve in this beautiful district, because we have so many people that depend on us. For those of you seeking re-election, I wish you all the very best. And for those of you not running for re-election, thank you for your service to our district. Leave with your head held high, as we undoubtedly are leaving this parish in a much better state than which we found it. And for the new board members, whoever you may be, please take care of Ms. Gwen. If not, I will be coming after you. I'll hold you up to that. So before I go, I challenge this board and the next to fight for salary increases for all employees. Our employees are top-notch, and we need to compensate them as such. Together, we were able to offer them stipends, which is just one small step in the right direction. There's a quote from a country singer, Cody Johnson: "If you have a dream, chase it, because the dream won't chase you back." So I'm placing all of my faith and trust in God above, and I ask you for your prayers and thank everyone for their outpouring of love and support. It's been an honor to serve this community, and may God bless the Lafourche Parish School District. Thank you.
That's why we're gonna miss you, right there. And I'd ask the board, at the end of the meeting, we do have a little cake for us to share with Tyler. So if you have a few minutes after the meeting, let's get together with Tyler and share a little more time. Okay, thank you. All right, with that said, we'll go on to recognition, letter B, the introduction of new administrators. Mr. Martin.
Yes, sir. We have with us tonight 2 new administrators to the Lafourche Parish School District. The first is Mr. Jude Blanchard, who is now the new assistant principal at Central Lafourche High School. Mr. Jude Blanchard.
First thing I'd like to say is I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to continue to serve the Central Lafourche community, the students, the teachers, the staff of the community that I hold near and dear to my heart. And I just want to keep continuing the success that we've had and take it to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Cindy Perk. Ms. Cindy Perk has been named the new Assistant Principal of East Thibodeau Middle School. Ms. Perk.
I want to thank you all for this opportunity. I'm very grateful. I will do my best to be a very effective leader, and I'm really looking forward to this school year.
All righty, tough job ahead for our new administrators. We welcome you in your new administrative roles and responsibilities. Good luck with the upcoming year. All right, with that said, we'll go to letter number 3, approval of board consent agenda. I'll read both of them, then we'll vote. Letter A, approval of board consent agenda items. B, minutes of regular board meeting held July 6, 2022. Can I have a having a second? Discussion from the board. Discussion from the public. Not this vote, please. Unanimous. Okay, thank you very much. And we'll go on to the approval of land and facilities management committee recommendations as per meeting held July 19, 2022. Mr. Plaisance.
A, to approve a change order request to add 11 additional days to the contract due to inclement weather for the month of June 2022 for the Thibodeau Middle School project. So moved.
We have a second. Repeat. Any discussion from the board? Any discussion from the public? Let's vote, please. Unanimous. Let's see, Mr. Plaisance.
B, to accept the low bid in the amount of $149,500 from LLJ Environmental for the Hurricane Ida Building Number 7 demolition project at Bayou Blue Elementary School. So moved.
Second by Mr. Lafourche. Any board discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Just a question for Mr. Plaisance. Did we get some kind of approval to be able to get to it easily from the road here?
We're working on that now. We sent the contract or the agreement to the landowner. We're just waiting for the information to come back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Any questions from the public concerning this item? Not. Let's vote. Unanimous. Letter C, Mr. President.
C, to approve a change order request to install a temporary gas line to feed the clothes dryers located in the field house at South Lafourche High School in the amount of $4,638.55. So moved.
We have a second. Adam? Any discussion from the board? Any discussion from the public? Not, Ms. Vogt, please. Unanimous. Letter D, Ms. Plaisance.
D, to approve a change order request to install a signature line on the basketball line to read, Coach Kyle Pelcourt on the new gym floor at LaRose Cutoff Middle School in the amount of $514. So moved.
And second, Mr. Dufresne, any board comment? Mr. Lafourche.
I would like to say, especially it's in my district, but to have Coach Kyle Pelt recognized this way, he meant so much to his students, so much to that school. This is well deserved.
Yeah.
And isn't the under school paying for that line, to write the line?
Yes, my understanding, Mr. Delphine, you were involved with that, is that correct?
Yes, sir. That is correct. The school's going to pick it up. They worked with Mr. Plaisance, the architect for that, and I don't think it was that expensive, but they absolutely were willing to pay for that.
Thank you, sir. Okay, any comments from any other comments from any comments from the public concerning this? All right, now let's vote. Unanimous? Okay, unanimous, I'm sorry. All right, thank you, Mr. Blaisdell. We're going on to number 5, approval of Finance Committee recommendations as per meeting held July 19, 2022. Mr. Woodry, the floor is yours.
Item A, to approve revisions to the fiscal year 2022 operating budget. So moved.
You have a second. Mr. Suarez. Any board discussion? Any discussion from the public? Not this vote, please. Unanimous. Okay, let's go on to letter B, to adopt the 2022-23 salary schedule effective July 1st, 2022.
I'm not going to read it again, but so moved.
Do we have a second? Any comments from the board? Any comments from the public concerning this item? Okay, if not, let's vote, please. Yeah, I voted for it. Unanimous? Unanimous. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Pouduret. Let's go on to the approval of the academic committee recommendations as per meeting held July 19, 2022. Mr. Tyler Dufresne.
8, to approve the revised 2022-2023 academic school calendar. So moved.
Mr. Adams, second. Any comments from the board concerning the calendar? Any comments from the public concerning the academic calendar? Not this vote. Unanimous. All right, let's go on to number 7, approval of advisory committee recommendations as per meeting held August 1st, 2022. Mr. Coutinho.
To accept the renewal quote recommended by Ms. Carmel with Norris Insurance Consultant for the flood insurance coverage. So moved.
We have a second, Mr. Pouduret. Any comments from the board? Comments? Yes, Mr. Plaisance.
I would like to thank Ms. Bro. It's a large number, but considering it's $2,000 more than last year. That's pretty impressive. So thank you for the work for getting this down as much as possible. Thank you for all your effort.
Well said, thank you, Mr. Marshall. Any comments from the public? Not this vote, please.
To approve a change order request to remove the water damaged wall padding caused by Hurricane Ida in the gymnasium at Rose Cutoff Middle School, and to provide and install new wall padding with logos in areas where original padding was removed at the total cost of $9,529. So moved.
We have a second, Ms. Bourgeois. Any comments from the board?
I just want to make a comment for the public that we seem to be going through these items very, very quickly, but these were discussed at length at each committee meeting, and so the board, and then the board gets the agenda as well as the public. So we've had many opportunities to learn what these are. So I just want to let you know that we're not just quickly making votes on things that we're not sure about.
That's great. We again encourage the public to attend these committee meetings where actually the bill term, the rubber meets the road, and stuff like that. So thank you for that comment. All right. Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the public? All right. Not this vote. Unanimous. All right, under new business, to consider revising policy BC board meeting, changing the meeting time from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. So moved. Do we have a second? Mr. Adams. Discussion. Mr. Lafourche.
I was the one who asked that this item be placed on the agenda tonight. Simply, all our committee meetings start at 6. I know for those of us who live maybe a little bit further away than Pivotal, it allows us maybe a little safer ride home, gets us home a little earlier. And if all our other meetings started at 7, I would say let's keep it at 7. But since we start our committee meetings at 6, I think it just works better.
Any other comments from the board? Ms. Bourgeois.
Although I usually agree with you, Henry, on this statement, I have to agree to disagree. Only for the fact that a lot of times we do recognitions before the board meeting, and like tonight we had a special board meeting. If we start at 6, we'd have to do that at 5 or 5:30. And I think it would be hard for our constituents who do want to come to get here at that time. That's my only, qualm about it.
Thank you, Ms. Bourgeois. Any other comments? Mr. Blazo.
I'll agree with you, Ms. Bourgeois. It's tough for someone who works to get here for 6 o'clock. And I know our committee meetings are at 6, and I understand, but I mean, if we want public involvement, I think the later might be better, in my opinion. But yeah, it does put us home late at times, but I mean, that's the sacrifice that I'm prepared to make when I took this, so I'm okay with leaving it at 7. Thank you.
The only thing I would say, I think if you started at 6, we could always make the special recognitions part of the agenda. You can always make that part of the agenda, and that can handle that part of it.
So I was all on board for 6. I don't have a problem with 6. However, being that I work further out, if a meeting is going to happen, if there's something that's going to happen prior to a meeting, it would be extremely difficult for me to get here at 5:30. And I mean, to be honest with you, if I catch the train, if I catch the train, it won't happen. So that's a great point about the time frame.
I do like the idea though, starting at 6 and having all our recognitions as part of the board meeting. And then if we stay a little later, it's still, the sun won't be late and dark. Because, you know, we have to keep in mind these people that travel all the way down to Golden Meadow, so I like that suggestion.
Any other comment? Ms. Thomas?
I agree with Miss Mary, and that's what I was gonna say. Maybe we can, you know, do the recognitions, because we do that mostly. And anything else that we need, we could do it after the board meeting. Because by the board meeting starting, earlier, you know, we don't be here so late.
I, for one, don't want to be accused of being from Thibodeau and voting against the folks that have to travel from down the line. Because I always hear that the road doesn't go two ways. So I agree with Mr. Lafourche. I would like to see the meeting time moved to 6.
Just one comment in general. I did survey the surrounding parishes. 5 of them, in fact, and not one of them starts later than 6:30. All of them start at 6 o'clock, and the latest one that I found was 6:30.
And look, we have an exceptionally long parish. This parish is 70 miles long. If someone lives in Golden Meadow, that's a trip.
Ms. Bell.
I think that it's been so positive having the recognition and having all the parents here with their kids and a lot of them are coming from down the bayou. And I know for some people who have to work to 5 and 5:30, it would be hard to get here, you know, by that time.
Okay, thank you.
But most of our recognitions begin at 6. So if it's part of the agenda, it will begin at 6 anyway.
Yeah, Dr.
So I'd like to reference today, for instance. We had a special meeting that started 30 minutes before, and obviously we ended up finishing that meeting within a 10-minute window or less, and thus we had 20 minutes of lag. And so obviously the same thing often happens when we do have recognitions at one of the schools. You know, typically there's some walkover, and you know, it starts at its time, and then there's always this kind of space of 15 or so minutes where if it becomes part of the full agenda, we continue to run through. We don't have to necessarily stop and go and have that fill time, so to speak. So anyway, I would say that, you know, it states board meetings, as long as it gets embedded in the agenda, then I think it's fine, but I don't think starting any earlier than 6 o'clock for any activity that we're doing is a wise move. So.
Any other comments? Any comments from the public? Okay. Ms. Marlborough, you wish to speak on this item. Please, give us your name, address. You have 5 minutes to address the board.
116 Sealess Lane, Lafourche, 70374. First and foremost, you all do not have a 3-minute comment period before any board meeting for parents to come voice any concerns. If something comes up on the agenda that a parent has the opportunity to come speak and you are putting this meeting at 6 o'clock, that parent has to get off work at 5, because most parents get off at work at 5, has to pick up their children from whatever sitter has them, then get them to another caretaker or provider to be at this meeting without having disruptions from their young children sitting in this meeting. Furthermore, this is the most discussion I've ever seen y'all had, so I'm very excited because I like it when y'all discuss the way y'all discussed this evening to the public. But that is my major concern with this, is if you put it at 6 o'clock, and I'm an at-home mom, I raise my children, and I'm fortunate I have 2 children that are older and old enough to drive and watch their siblings, that I can get here whenever you guys say to be here. But even during the school year, it is very hard. It's much easier during the summer. And I feel that you all were elected to serve your constituents. And if it's easier for your constituents to get here at 7 o'clock, then y'all need to keep it at 7 o'clock and consider moving committee meetings to 7 o'clock. Because at that point, then we can be here where the rubber meets the road, like you had said, Mr. Bernard, to do that. So that was my whole point of it, because we are limited at when and where and how we can speak on agenda items. And like you said, if you guys start allowing to do the accolades that you give everyone, which I really enjoy watching when you do that, and I sit through them and I'm fine with that. But if there's that lag time is the time from a parent making an agenda item or that parent missing their opportunity for their only time to speak to this board about that particular item when it comes up. So that was just all that I had to say, and I hope that y'all can take that into consideration when you vote.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Marlborough. Are there any other comments from the board? Yes, ma'am. You can come up and give your name and address.
Vicki Cluche, Schriever. One of the main complaints we hear in Terrebonne Parish is the starting time for the school board meeting. It's very hard for parents who work to get there. And so I love 7 o'clock here because it just makes it a lot more doable for families. So if I were voting, I would vote to leave it at 7.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Okay. All right, if not, let us vote. Nine yeas, 5 noes, and this particular item is passed. The time will be at 6 p.m., which will start next week. Thank you for your input, Mr. Lafourche.
I just would like, I hope everyone understood and watched how civil this discussion was. Whether you agreed or disagreed, it wasn't like in Baton Rouge or Washington. It was. We're hoping you change all that, but that's what we hope. But that's how this board has worked. Everything has always been civil.
Thank you, Mr. Lafourche.
I just think of something else that I should have brought out is that our staff that stays here to the meetings, they have been here since 7:30 in the morning, and they stay till the end of the board meetings. And so, you know, I think starting at 6 may give them a chance to go home a little bit early, which I wish I thought about that. So thank you all for staying.
Well, on a side note, before we go, it's my understanding that the central office had approved of this particular item. Be that said, Dr. Diot, and then we'll move on after.
Yeah, so I thank you, Mr. President. I would like to say that the opportunity, if it presents itself in the future, if it looks like this is not meeting the needs, obviously, just like we did this time, I mean, policies can be adjusted to meet and adjust to what serves our constituents and everyone involved.
Well said. Thank you, sir. All right, with that said, we'll, Mr. President.
I will defend it on one thing. So when we talk about committees, we generally have 3 committees on that night. So land the facilities alone, I mean, we could push an hour and a half, right, in land of facilities. And we're generally after 2 other meetings in front of us that might be 15 minutes, it might be an hour. So that is why 6 o'clock for the committees is always a good thing. But, I mean, the next board could do what y'all want, but 6 o'clock.
Thank you. These comments are well said and they're on record. So with that said, let us move on to the renewal resolutions. And the first one is Mrs. Gloria Lafourche, retired school bus driver. Ms. Adams.
Ms. Gloria Lafourche was hired by Lafourche Parish School District on February 3rd, 1982 as a school bus driver. Ms. Lafourche retired on June 24, 2001, having served the Lafourche Parish School District for a total of 19.5 years.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. Mrs. Imelda Rogers, retired head janitor. Ms. Thomas.
Miss Imelda Rogers was hired by the Lafourche Parish School District on August 27, 1975, as a school janitor. Ms. Rogers was later promoted to head janitor at Thibodeau Elementary School. Ms. Rogers retired September 30th, 1993, and she served the Lafourche Parish School District for a total of 18 years.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Ms.
Yes, I move that these resolutions be adopted by general consent, that a copy of the resolutions be recorded on a special page of our minute book.
Thank you, ma'am. With no objections, let the record reflect that these resolutions were adopted by general consent and will be recorded on a special page of our minute book. Thank you. And with that said, superintendent's update, to receive an update from Superintendent Martin on the current operations within the district, and I have a motion for that. Ms. Bourgeois, second, Dr. Dia. Any comments from the board before we turn it over to Superintendent Martin? Any comments from the public? Superintendent Martin, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. First, I'll talk about the facilities. In the 11th hour, we got Old Chack Bay Elementary ready for school Friday. It took a tremendous amount of work. I will tell you that the maintenance staff, Mr. Plaisance, our contractors, Miss Ann Hodson, and I'm probably missing a whole bunch of folks, Jamie Chauvin. You name somebody, they had a role in getting the school ready. But fingers crossed, the air conditioners will still be working Friday morning. Because we probably used more duct tape than anything to get the building up and running. If you know Old Chack Bay Elementary School, this school was left for a reason, right? It is not in great shape, but it has been brought back to life, and the contractors did a great job. It looks phenomenal. It's clean. It is well suited to serve the students at Bayou Buff quite well, and it's going to need to for the next couple of years. So we're excited about that. Golden Meadow Middle School is up and running at Golden Meadow Upper Elementary. Those teachers are on the campus. And we had some minor setbacks at Golden Meadow Lower Elementary School with some air conditioning, so they're going to be without ceiling tiles for a little while. But if the kids in Golden Meadow are like mine, they're used to seeing messed up ceilings and paper floors. So I know we'll get over it. Suffice to say, there are still a lot of challenges for our facilities throughout the district. We still have roofs that are not permanently repaired. You all know that. But we are well positioned to receive our kids Friday. Staffing, we are short 14 teachers throughout the district. When you consider we have on our staff around 900 teachers, that's not terrible. But we are working around the clock, and by we, I mean Mr. Robbie Lee and his folks, wherever he is. He's actually with his wife tonight, but he's been putting in just tremendous hours, and that whole department is. We'll keep filling these positions in the next couple of weeks, and each principal has a plan to address those days that we have to go without a teacher in the classroom. But we're 14 short. We started the summer close to 50 short. So this is a lot of progress. And again, this number changes. We had some teachers leave to go to other districts as late as a couple of days ago. So those are positions that are hard to fill. On the teaching and learning front, our teachers have been back on their campuses these last few days, and they're beginning the process of learning the NEAT rubric, which is the National Institute for Excellence in Teaching rubric. The principals are delivering this much needed professional development, and this is going to greatly aid the administrators in their role for both providing feedback and supporting our teachers to make sure that they're giving quality instruction to our students. And last, I'll close with accountability and testing. We received the data for our students' test results a few days ago, about a week, and then we received the state data yesterday, and with that state data you can begin to see how you compare. And when we got our initial results back a week ago, we couldn't see the other districts, and what we could see was that we had made what we considered to be some pretty good progress, but we're not back to the student achievement levels where we were before COVID. So we were happy a little bit. On a side note, I ran into the state superintendent of the weekend. He stops me, he says, "Hey, congratulations." What? I didn't get married. He says, "Your scores, they look really good." I said, "No, the scores look okay." He says, "No, your scores look really good." And what happened is that we grew tremendously. Our parish scored in the top 10 overall in the state, and no school district in Louisiana grew more than Lafourche Parish last year. That needs to go out to every family, every teacher, every custodian, every cafeteria worker, every bus driver that continued to use a lot of duct tape to make last year possible. Not to be long-winded, but we started last school year in the throes of another COVID spike. And by the time the hurricane hit, we had hundreds of kids quarantining, hundreds of teachers quarantining, and principals were on the phone telling us, "I don't know how much longer we can sustain this because I don't have enough teachers to teach tomorrow." Then the hurricane hit. And the only thing the hurricane did that was any good was it wiped COVID out for a few weeks. We had no school in some areas until late October. we get schools back up and running. In late October in South Lafourche High School, kids don't return every day until January. And by the end of January, we had over 2,000 kids quarantining once again because of another COVID spike. By the grace of God, we get through the spring, things calm down, and we start to hit our stride, and the teachers made tremendous progress. So that's the story of last year. Hopefully it's a story of many years of growth. But if you see a teacher, you see a principal, you see somebody in our district, thank them. And thank the parents, the community, and the businesses for their patience as we rode what was the roughest ride in our parish's history over these last couple of years. But that's the story today. We're excited about the next school year, and that is my report, Mr. President.
Excellent. Any comments, Mr. Evans?
I'd like to personally, and I'm sure all of us do, thank everybody involved in the school system who had anything to do with that. Our teachers just buckled down and did what they had to do. They were teaching, on a lot of adverse conditions. Our students were living with relatives, living in small campers. They were, the conditions were horrible, but yet everybody kept going, kept pushing forward. And again, I want to thank the parents for keeping their kids focused on what they had to do in school. I think this was definitely a team effort, and everybody should be congratulated.
Superintendent Morton, I think you made an excellent point. Not only the parents, the staff, the students, but the business community was hit hard in this hurricane, and the business community in our area really stepped up to help us. They really did, and I think we can't forget that.
Any other comments?
Just one small comment. I think a lot of the test score results was the result of the district's persistence to have in-school learning. And I think I read somewhere in the report where there was a marked difference between students who went to school versus those who learned virtually. So I think that was the scores are a result of that persistence.
I just want to tell you how excited I am, and that shows that the people of Lafourche Parish are very resilient. Our teachers, our administrators, our central office staff, the superintendent, and of course everybody, support personnel, everybody, and parents who were living in adverse conditions, but saw to it that their children did what they had to do to do well in school. So I can't tell you how excited I am, how appreciative I am, and just keep on going.
Any other comments? I'd also like to thank the superintendent. A lot of times, and rightfully so, he gives the credit to the entire team, the entire parish, but his leadership has proven in steering the ship in the right direction for this parish. So thank you very much. Thank you. We hired the right man. With that said, any other comments from the public? Any comments from the public? All right, let's take a look at tentative dates of future meetings. And as I read these, understand that in case the agenda does not show it, we may have to cancel some meetings. We may have to combine certain meetings, depending upon the business that needs to be conducted. But at this time, the following dates will be set aside for these particular meetings. Policy and Procedure Committee on Tuesday, August 16th. Transportation Committee Tuesday, August 16th. Academic Committee Tuesday, August 16th. Insurance Committee Wednesday, August 17th. Finance Committee Wednesday, August 17th. Land and Facility Management Committee Wednesday, August 17th. Advisory Committee Tuesday, September 6th. And regular board meeting Wednesday, September 7th. And on a side note, Mr. Dufresne was the chair of the academic committee, and because he will be leaving us, I've asked Mrs. Babin to assume that particular chairperson role, and she has agreed to it, and we appreciate that, Mrs. Babin. if there, I do have one thing before we go into executive session. I always like to recognize people who on the board who have achieved certain honors, and from now on we will call Mr. Lafourche Dr. Lafourche. He has received that honor through Nickel States, through his contributions and his work with Nickel States. So Dr. Lafourche. And of course, we have to include his wife, Kim.
I would like to point out, though, that he already had that honor. By virtue of his degree, it's a Juris Doctor.
Boy, he is two doctors. So, Dr. Lafourche.
Thank you.
All right, with that said, we'll now go into executive session to consider entering into executive session to receive and review the superintendent's proposed professional growth plan and complete the development of said plans for the upcoming school year as per policy CEI, evaluation of the superintendent. Can I have a motion? Dr. Gayot, Babin, second. Any comments from the board? Any comments from the public? If not, we'll go into executive session, and Mrs. Babin, as usual, you will tell us the time that we're doing so.
Yes, sir. Have it.
Okay, you got the time. All right, if that's said, let us vote. All in favor? I'm sorry, there we go. We go. Okay. Okay, unanimous vote, we'll go into executive session. Babin will give us the time, and we're all